Okay, I'm going to read a couple of articles from this magazine of 1954. No, not, in fact, it's 1953, April 1953. Couple of articles was happening between black people and white people in 1953. Now, this first story about this white man who beat the 250-pound Negro woman. Now, I'm going to add that even though it's not sexual, it's not actually sexual, but the white man beats 250-pound Negro woman and he was jailed. He just broke into for some reason, he broke into a lakeside camp and beating a 250-pound Negro woman, caretaker Eula Bell Richardson. She is 22. 22-year-old, 250-pound woman told police she struggled 10 minutes with the intruder. And the man fled when the fisherman approached. Now the white man denied the crime and was charged with assault with intent to murder and burglary. Wow, that's with intent to murder. This was 1953 now. And this other story about this white woman. This one, they say she was incompetent. Now, the white woman accused of vice. The woman was ruled mentally incompetent. Now, why did they charge her with engaging in prostitution with Negroes? A 27-year-old white woman in Zebulon, North Carolina, was found mentally incapable of standing trial. That's because she was engaging with sex with Negroes. So they say she was incompetent. Now, this is the last story in this magazine here. It's just the interaction between whites and blacks. This is basically it. And this is this story here about this white woman who they call a Moll, Moll. She was it was a gangster life. And she was a fugitive from California prison for women. And she was serving a 25-year robbery term. And she was with a Negro man going on a crime spree. She was going on a crime spree. And another Negro man was her boyfriend, Johnny Jones was her boyfriend. That's 1953. She was going on a crime spree with some Negro men. I just put that in there to show the different interaction. 1953, well, that's about 57 years ago, something like that. I'm going on to continue the story about miscegenation in America. This is from 1962 article, October 1962. And this story is I continue with my study on miscegenation. And this is from this page. 94 by Lerone Bennett. Let's continue on this page here. You can read it, but anyway, this paragraph say as early as 1664. This is from 1664 we're talking about. Maryland enacted the first anti-amalgamation statute. It was an astonishing document. The statute was aimed at white women who had resisted every effort to inoculate them with the virus of racial pride. And the preamble stated very clearly the reasons which drove white men to the extremity of enslaving white women. And here's what the preamble said, or the law said. This is the law. And for much as divers, free-born English women, forgetful of their free condition, and to the disgrace of our nation, do intermarry with Negro slaves, by which also divers suits may arise, touching the issue of such women, and a great damage thus befall the masters of such Negro, but for preservation, whereof for deterring such freeborn women from such shameful matches, be it enacted, that whatsoever freeborn woman shall intermarry with any slave from and after the last day of the present assembly shall serve the master of such slave during the life of her husband, and that all the issues of such freeborn women so married shall be slaves as their fathers were. They had to make a law to keep women from marrying a slave. And then it further said, this law failed to stay intermarriage. Some women choose love and slavery. Oh my goodness. White women choose love. Slavery is true slavery to be with the black man. Others were reduced to slavery by scheming planters who forced them to marry Negro men in order to reap the additional economic benefits accruing from the extended service of the mothers and the perpetual slavery of their children. A celebrated case revolved about Alice Nell, that's a white woman, imagine, Alice Nell, an indentured servant who came over with Lord Baltimore. When Baltimore returned to England, he sold Alice Nell to a planter who forced or encouraged her to marry a Negro. So they kind of shocked by the practice of prostituting white women for economic purposes. Lord Baltimore used his influence to get the law changed. The new law was about as effective as the old one, which is to say, it was not effective at all. E.I. McCormack, the authority on white servitude in Maryland, said mingling of the races in Maryland continued during the 18th century in spite of all laws against it. So this is what the white man think of the white woman. He forced some of them to marry slaves so that they could be slaves for the life of their husband and their children could be slaves. That's what the white man thought. of the white woman.